Here is the lineup for the women's quadruple sculls. France, the Ukraine and Great Britain, very much the favoured boat. And just avoiding being completely soaked is my colleague Hugh Matheson, who's now putting together his equipment. As we see the lineup now for this women's quadruple scull. Ukraine in lane number 2. They'll be furthest away, and you can see, and it reminds me of a little Dutch expression, "Het gegend bijper stillen," which I'm told reliably means in Dutch it's raining stair rods or something like that, and if I haven't pronounced it correctly, I'm very sorry.
Curiously, it's raining stair rods at the finish, which is what David's talking about. You can see that at the start it is completely clear, and the scullers are lined up on perfect water with even possibly a glint of sunshine. It is an extraordinarily contrasting course with these short, sharp showers passing across it at different stages.
So, far side in lane 1, France. 2 from the top of your picture will be the Ukraine. China in lane 3. The world champions for the past 2 seasons, Great Britain, are in lane number 4. Germany, who include crew the great Boron, and then the Netherlands in lane 6, closest to you. And there you can see the German boat, 2 from the bottom of your picture there, and sitting in the 2 seat just in front of Britta Opelt in the bow is Katrin Boron. And Boron, really one of the really great athletes. Now, the winner of no less than 3 World Cups and Olympic champion in 4 boat classes.
Good clean start there, and camera concentrating on Netherlands, not just because it's the home nation, because they did go off very well there, but certain amount of trouble between 3 and stroke in that Dutch crew. Willem Everts and Katie Steenman in the depth to which they bury the blade on the catch, but China and Great Britain pulling out immediately lanes 3 and 4 from this pack to separate themselves and go for the medals from the very beginning.
And Great Britain with Catherine Granger in the stroke seat, Frances Houghton, Debbie Flood and Annie Vernon. Debbie Flood, who was over at the New Wave clothing company the other day, or in fact yesterday, with a bit of a sore throat, but she said it wasn't a great problem. But I was very impressed in Linz with the British. I think it's fair to say, Hugh, that they weren't really pushed, but as a unit they were working beautifully in Austria.
They certainly were, and Annie Vernon has come in for Sarah Winkles, who's injured this season and out for the whole season, and it was very, very difficult to tell that there was a new member of that crew. It looked entirely as smooth and as together as it had in its previous year. World champions last year, although they did in fact finish second at the World Championships, but the crew which beat them, Russia, was later disqualified for metabolized traces of unexplained exogenous metabolized testosterone. So Great Britain succeeded to the world champion status, but now second to China as they go through the 500 meters mark.
And these were the 2 crews that qualified directly into the final, and it is China with Feng in the stroke seat, Jin, Ji and Tang in the bow. And this was the crew that finished 4th last year. It was second to the British in Austria. And these 2 already a dominant force, and the rest left really playing for 3rd place. France, the Ukraine and the Netherlands.
The distance, 0.27 of a second at 500 with the British in front there, but 3 seconds already after 500 metres back to Germany in 3rd place. And that gap has been extended by a large margin as they come up to the 1,000-metre mark. China now leading by a full canvas and 1 person, but practically half a length.
So this is going to be quite interesting now how Catherine Granger, sitting in the stroke seat here, Hugh, measures up the task from here on in.
She is the crew maker in this crew. You could change, as we just talked about, Sarah Winkler's, Annie Vernon change. Not a lot of difference to the crew. Take Catherine out and the whole thing would alter immeasurably. She is the dominant force, the intelligence thinking behind this crew, and it's what she does over that second 1,000 to make back what has turned from 0.27 seconds of an advantage to 1.01 second of disadvantage at 1,000 meters. Germany still in the race with Oppelt, Bohan, Huth and Schiller in third place, but a long way back from these two. But China inexorable in the way. There is no big burn, no big effort. They're just drawing away inches each stroke over the reigning world champions.
Holland in the foreground. Germany, you can see the blue boat there. Steffi Schiller, this very promising well, she's not quite 21-year-old stroke. This is Jutta Lau's latest permutation. It's a real mixture of youth and experience in that German quad.
Vernon making the call there, so we'll just see what happens now. That they're struggling a little bit with China now almost a length up, and no big move in rating. They may have stiffened up a little bit, just a little bit sharper with the legs into the catch there, but there isn't another weapon in the locker to take what is now a quarter a length of open water back from China, absolutely creaming away. And there's a call there, but I don't think it's made any difference either. They're just holding that race pace, straining every nerve, but as they have
500 to go.
500 to go from there and a quarter of a length of open water. It looks like they've got that race sorted. Germany closing now on Great Britain.
I was going to say, Hugh, actually, the regular adversaries, Great Britain and Germany, could very shortly be locked in a battle there for the second place, because it seems that the British can't actually do anything about the way that Chinese have remorselessly actually opened up this advantage now. There's Fran Houten.
Yeah,
Catherine Granger,
but she's got Catherine in front of her to keep her going. But there's not a big burn coming. There's no great move that's going to make a change to the fate of this race, and it would be wise for the British quad, the world champion quad as they are, to look back on Germany and make sure they stay ahead of bronze medal position.
Yeah, this will be something of a disappointment for the British to be turned over by the Chinese, and that's perhaps an understatement, because it's not just losing, it's by the margin they look as if they might lose this race.
If you were Paul Thompson and wondering what to do next, you would have to think quite long and hard on how to overturn a margin of that magnitude. 2008 beckons. China has a quad.
And mentally, you can see the toughness in these Chinese crews. You've seen it all through. And as they come right in front of the commentary box, the British can do nothing about this. They've perhaps marginally closed a little bit, but the Chinese, by a length of clear water, are going to take the women's quadruple sculls. And Great Britain equally just about a length ahead of Germany. So the 8 points in the World Cup go to China, 6-2 Great Britain. Then Germany, and then on the far side, France coming home ahead of the Ukraine, and the Netherlands, I'm afraid, at the back. Well, that's going to make some interesting thinking on the flight back. It's not a long flight, but I don't think Kath Granger or Francis or Debbie or Annie were expecting that sort of result.
Well, I don't think they knew. I mean, nobody knew what this Chinese crew was going to do. Nobody knew, really. I mean, with Tang, we've seen 2 or 3 of the names before. Fang, we've seen before, but we've not seen them in that combination. And we've, well, the world, not we, the world hasn't seen what they could do. But no doubt they've honed that speed in racing 3 or 4 crews of the same caliber from the home team. And it could be that crew, or it could be something completely different at the next who should turn up on the start in Beijing in 2008. But a marked victory over a very